In this lesson, we'll talk about the natural base e and its applications, specifically compound interest. E is defined as the value that the function 1 plus 1 over n raised to the n approaches as n gets larger and larger. In other words, if we would continually evaluate increasingly large values of n and go all the way into infinity, the largest that this graph or this function would ever get would be at this value right here. If you look at the graph where this function has been graphed, you can see that it approaches but never goes beyond that value right there. And that value turns out to be approximately 2.718281828, and then it continues on. So it is this irrational number that we have defined as e. So that is another one of its characteristics. It is an irrational number. And that means it can't be written as a fraction in a simpler form. And it is also the base of what we call the natural logarithms. And we are going to use this in many areas of study, such as population growth, finance, and so on. And we're going to look at how to use this in compound interest and in population growth in these examples here today. So used in finance and population growth. There's no need to memorize the value of e. There is an e function on most calculators, but if you want to just type it in, if for some reason you can't find it on your calculator or you need to just use an abbreviated form of e and type it in, it's easy to remember. You can just remember that it is 2.7, and then remember that 1828 repeats itself twice. So you've got, if you can remember 2.7 and then remember 1828, you're good to go. And then if you want to go even further, if you remember from geometry, the 45, 90, 45 triangle, the next three values are actually 45, 90, 45. There's no significance to that. It's just the pattern that there is. So if you remember 2.7 and then that 1828 comes next twice, then 45, 95 or 45, 90, 45, then you've got the first quite a few numbers of the value of e. Not that you'll ever really need it, but there they are. So the key on your calculator is usually under the second function. So you're going to look for one that looks probably like that. I'm not sure what it's going to look like on everyone's calculator. Again, if you're not sure what it looks like on your calculator, you should probably just research or Google your specific calculator model and look for the E button, and you'll be able to find it on your calculator. All right, let's take a look at how this applies in a population growth model. So the exponential function f of x equals 1144e to the 0.0325x exponent models the gray wolf population of the western Great Lakes, f of x years after 1978. So we're looking at the growth of the gray wolf population, any number or x number of years after 1978. So we're not interested in anything before 1978. And we want to use the model that we're given to project the gray wolf's population in the recovery area in 2014. So we want to know what's going to be happening in 2014. So I don't know when this was written, but obviously we're way past 2014. So we need to know how many years we are at X years at 2014. So we need to put that in X years. So we need to see how many years that is past 1978. So we need to do a little subtraction here. So 2014 is how many years. So let's grab our calculator here and see how many years that is. So 2014 is, let's see, 36 years past 1978. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use 36 for our evaluation purposes. So what we're going to do is we're going to evaluate this model at 36 years. So we're going to say f of 36, and we're going to see what we get. So, and we can just put e right back in there to the 0.0325, and then put 36 in where we see x. And then we need to just, on our calculator, find that e key and insert it in and put the values in where we need to. Or if you don't have the e key, you can put in the value of e. So I could put in my calculator 2.718281828, and I can stop right there. I don't even have to put all that in, to the 0.0325 times 36. All right, so if I do that evaluation of my exponent, I'm going to be raising e to the 1.17th power. If I enter that into my calculator and do my multiplication, then I'm going to end up with 3,686. So that indicates that the gray wolf population in the Western Great Lakes in the year 2014 is projected to be about 3,686 wolves. So that's an approximation, 3,686. All right, so let's take a look at this as it relates to finance. So when we work with compound interest, we have two different types of compounding. We can compound in periods, or we can compound continuously. So if I am compounding interest in periods, then that means I am getting interest paid on my money more than once per year. And generally when I'm having interest compounding in periods, there are generally four that are the most common. There are semi-annual, quarterly, monthly, and daily compounding. In those specific ones, if I am talking about compounding in periods, if I'm talking about, let's say, semi-annual, I have n equal to 2 compounding periods per year. All right, there are 2 compounding periods per year. If I am talking about quarterly compounding, then I have 4 compounding periods per year. I get paid interest this many number of times per year. If I have monthly compounding, then I have 12 compounding periods per year. And if I have daily compounding, then I have 365. That means I get interest every day, okay? In those cases, then my formula for interest does not use E, but my formula for interest is A equals P, principal, which is the amount that I invest, times 1 plus R over N raised to the N times T. Right, that is my formula for interest. So in that formula, I need to make sure that I'm using everything correctly. I'm inputting it in the correct format. That means R needs to be in decimal form when you enter this into the formula. So that means R should be in decimal form. And T should be in years. All right, so if it's 6 months, then that means we need to enter it in as a half. It's a half of a year. All right. All right, now for continuous compounding, we're talking about the number of compounding periods increases infinitely. It compounds interest every trillionth of a second, every quadrillionth of a second, etc. So it is always compounding, so it never stops. So that is the compounding interest that would use our value of E. And the formula for that interest is A equals P, which is our principal, times E raised to the RT. Again, the rate should be entered in decimal form. And time is in years. And let me just go ahead and over here on the right, write down what all the variables are. And one more. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. All right, so a sum of $10,000, there's your principal amount, is invested at an annual rate of 1.08%. Find the balance in the account after 5 years subject to quarterly compounding. So we have a sum of $10,000, so there's our P. That's how much we invested. Invested at an annual rate of 1.08%. So we want to use the first formula, which is A, and then let's come back and get all our numbers. A equals P 1 plus R over N raised to the NT. Okay, so our rate in decimal form, even though it has a decimal in it, that is not decimal form. Decimal form means take it out of percentage form. So we need to move the decimal over 2 places to the left. So our rate is going to be 0.0108. So take it out of decimal, or take it out of percentage form. Our N is going to be 4 because it's quarterly. And we still need T, which is 5. We're told that we are 5 years. Okay, so now we have everything we need. We can just plug it into our formula and solve. So A is equal to principal, which is 10,000, times 1 plus our rate, which is 0.0108 over N, which is 4, times N, which is 4, times 5. I can plug all of that into my calculator, and I come out with $10,554.08. So after 5 years, subject to quarterly compounding, I end up with $10,554.08. Is 8 cents. So actually this is, let's take a look at that same problem, only with continuous compounding. Now you would expect it to be significantly higher, but I'll go ahead and tell you it is not going to be significantly higher. So let's go ahead and take a look at that calculation and see what the difference is. So a sum of $10,000, again, invested at an annual rate of 1.08%. Find the balance after 5 years subject to continuous compounding, meaning it's just increasing infinitely, compounding interest every trillionth and quadrillionth of a second. So we have our formula, A equals PERT, and we need to get all those values out. So our principal, same, is 10,000. We know E is just in our calculator, or we can type it in. Our rate needs to be in decimal form, which is 0.0108, and our time is 5. So we can go ahead and just plug that in, and we're going to have A equals 10,000 e to the 0.0108 times 5. And I'm going to go ahead and just put that in my calculator, and I'm going to get 10,000 times e to the 0.054, which gives me a final result of 10,554.85. So only very slightly different. So the last amount was better. I think I said it wasn't going to be. This one is ever so slightly higher, so only marginally though. So I was wrong when I said it wasn't. Here's one for you to try. Let's say you have $8,000 to invest for 6 years. Which option would be better? Option A, at 1.2% compounded monthly, or option B, at 1.19% compounded continuously. So go ahead and pause the video before you look at the next set, which has the answers, and see what you get. Don't forget to convert your rates to decimal form instead of percent form before you do your calculations. All right, so for option A, you should have used 0.012 for your rate and 12 for your number of compounding periods, and you should have gotten $8,596.93. For option B, you should have used 0.0119 for your rate and 6 for your T. That would have given you $8,592.09. The better option was your compounded monthly, so that was the better choice right here. The top option was your better choice. It got you just a little bit more money at the end.